Okay, my hair's gonna be what it is. Yeah. Yep. Another video during the Booktubeathon. I didn't think I was gonna be doing this, but I have had so much inspiration over the past couple of days. Maybe it's just all the reading I've been doing. Who knows? Anyway, I'm trying to get excited, you know? Because, like, my last video was really chill and, like, morning. And, like, now, well, the last video I posted, I'm editing another one currently. But I wanted to film this because I'm very excited about today and what has happened today. Anyway, so, you know how Ariel Bissett has been titling her videos through this Booktubeathon process this year? I'm doing that today because something actually miraculous has happened. It's probably not actually miraculous. I'm doing that today because it's necessary, it feels right. It feels like I should. So we're gonna call this Miraculous Recovery. Because that is what has happened. The last time that I spoke to you, the last time I left you, I had finished 2 books, and we were at the end of we were in the middle of day 3. I had finished 2, I had started another one, things were going good. Then, last night, at the end of day 4, about to start day 5, I had still only finished 2. Did I say finished 3 before? I meant finished 2. I'd only finished 2 books. I have them here. In the first 2 days of the Booktubeathon, I finished these 2 books. I did that. It was great. I started the next one, and then I got bogged down a little. I got bogged down. And so, here I was, the beginning of day 5. I had tried to start, like, 2 other books, and I wasn't getting anywhere, and I was going slowly, and I didn't, like, want to keep continuing with them because they were giving me a certain kind of emotional experience that I wasn't looking for at this point. Anyway, started top of day 5, still had only finished 2 books, done a minimal amount of reading for the past, like, 3 days. And now you say, now that we are at the end of day 5, where are we sitting? I have finished not 1, not 2, but 3 books today. It's amazing. It's, like, so much. I am honestly so excited and, like, so amazed by what I've done. Sometimes I lose track of the fact that I can read so fast because when I get bogged down in things, my reading slows down and, like, my pace slows down as well as my interest level, like, slows down and becomes much lower. And so when I really get into the groove, I get into the groove. I was about halfway through both of these, and I started this one this morning. And honestly, The Crowns Game by Evelyn Skye is what got me back in the game for this Booktubeathon. This book is so good. It is 5 stars. 5 whole stars. It's so good. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. I need the next one, like immediately, probably. This book is amazing. More on that later in my wrap-up, probably. Anyway, the other 2 books that I finished, The Princess Saves Herself and this one by Amanda Lovelace, is also very lovely. This is full of poems, so it's actually pretty short when you consider that there's, like, you know, approximately this many words per page. It's very short. It didn't take me a long time to read this. The only thing that kept me from getting all the way through this really, really quickly is the fact that this book is really heavy. There are a lot of very intense and emotional themes in this, some of which were personal to me, some of which were not, and, like, dealing with all of those was taking a lot out of me. The first half of this book, like, this book comes with a trigger warning, which I really, really appreciate. It comes in the form of a poem entitled Trigger Warning at the beginning that finishes with, "Remember to practice self-care before, during, and after reading." I love that. And, like, with a book like this that deals with the themes that this deals with, it felt completely necessary and true. Over the course of this, I practiced self-care by giving myself breaks. I read it in short chunks over the course of 2 or 3 days, and by the time I got to the 3rd section, I was able to move through the material much faster. I love these poems. They are great, basically, is how I feel about this. Good poems, love that. The last book that I have finished on this day, the 5th day of the Booktubeathon 2017, is This Side of Home by Renee Watson. And this book is fabulous as well. It is also kind of heavy. This book deals with people of color and the young adults of color and their experience of racism and their experience within their own communities of the modern day racial climate and political climate that has to deal with those kinds of things. And growing up and finding out who you are and what it means to be a black person and what it means to interact with the world as a black person, and expectations and individuality and things like that. And it's so much. It's very, very, very good. I'm very excited about these, so I'm talking about them a lot right now, and I feel like I should leave more of this for, like, wrapping things up, but I want to get into it, and I want to talk about this book. It is so good. It is so much. At the beginning, it was hard for me to get through this because there is, like, this feeling of, it's about characters in high school, and generally contemporary novels about characters in high school carry this element of secondhand embarrassment. Characters doing things and making mistakes and learning lessons by making those mistakes. And when you can see those things coming, you kind of feel them already, and like, that kind of emotional experience isn't something that I appreciate. And so at the beginning of this, I felt a little bit of that, like, coming or trying to happen, and it was difficult for me to get through it. But it was also difficult for me to get through this because the current world that we live in, there's already a lot of negativity about a lot of different kinds of social justice. A lot of people believe that it's not necessary, or believe that what you do can't ever be enough, or are pessimistic, or don't even think that we need it, or whatever. And there's a lot that weighs you down when you try to think about those things, because there's a lot that isn't easy about it. And reading the first half of this book really got me in touch with all of those negative, uneasy feelings again, which is not, like, I'm not saying we should, like, not do social justice things, because they're hard topics to approach and hard topics to consider, but, like, that's why it was difficult for me to, like, read this, because in really identifying with those emotions, it was bringing them up again, feelings of powerlessness and voicelessness and helplessness, and it was difficult. Pushed through it, and I, like, hit the actual halfway mark on this book, and, you know, in the way that books do, things changed, things turned, things took a different route, and I managed to finish the book very quickly. I got really into it once I got past that hurdle of powerlessness that the situation in this book kind of inspired in me. So, also a very fabulous book full of very, very wonderful and important themes, and I love it. I love this book as well. I think it does a lot of really, really important things, and I think it is very, I think it's hard-hitting, I think it's real, I think it presents a number of different and completely valid perspectives on the situations at hand in the novel. I like this book a lot. It was just difficult for me to read at first because it brings me back to nobody listening to me and things not changing and, you know, that kind of thing. That, you know, when we're presented with a problematic society, we have to consider those elements and that kind of thing. It's very real, which is why it hit me so hard. I said I wasn't going to talk that much about it, and then I did. Way to go. Anyway, the end of this update is I have started my next book, which is Undead and Unappreciated. This was going to be my book that I read entirely outside, and I went outside for about 5 minutes, and I saw, like, 3 wasps and a spider that was, like, this big minus the legs. So I decided I was gonna come back inside and read it, because I don't like spiders or bees. I like honeybees, and, like, most bees are fine, and if you don't bother them, they won't bother you, but this one was really big, and, like, it was like a wasp. It wasn't like a honeybee, it was like a wasp. And I don't approve of those. I don't like bugs like that. So, I bit the bullet and said, I'm opting out of this challenge. I'm not gonna do that. If I had a clean place to read outside, I probably would. But the places that I have to read outside are dirty and covered in bugs, and I don't want to. So I'm reading this inside. I've just started it. I am about 55 pages in already. I like this series a lot. I think it's a lot of fun, and I hope that this doesn't take me too long. Okay. Anyway, if anyone needed any more proof that I can talk for a really, really long time about books, there you go. Anyway, that's all for today, and I will see you next time, and hopefully, in the future, I won't ramble as much. I hope you have a good day. Sorry you had to listen to me ramble like this. Not that sorry. Goodbye.